At the conclusion of the Australian Grand Prix, a significant event occurred that the majority of spectators were totally unaware of. As the headlines, a number of drivers, including Max Verstappen, were already debating the idea of declining future contracts under the new Formula One rules, with an emphasis on frantic overtakes and battery drama. And it's more than simply annoyance. The large 750 kilowatts peak output of the new 2026 hybrid system comes from electrical deployment, which frequently runs empty on energy-poor circuits like Albert Park, accounting for over half of it. As a result, while still using full speed, cars slowed down by almost 50 kilometers per hour in the middle of a straight. Allegations of avarice, hypocrisy, and political scheming behind closed doors have been sparked by that one technological defect. Additionally, the rivalry within Formula One suddenly makes much more sense when you look at the data. The largest technical reset in Formula One history was implemented during the 2026 season. Regulations for the power unit and chassis were changed at the same time. These days, cars are lighter, smaller, and generate less aerodynamic downforce. Because it improves the car's agility in medium-speed turns, the majority of drivers actually praised it. However, the engine formula is where the real revolution is found. With over 350 kilowatts originating from the electrical side, the new hybrid system generates a total output of about 750 kilowatts. As a result, energy management is no longer merely an auxiliary instrument. It is now the main component of racing strategy, particularly on circuits like Albert Park that have little braking zones. Here's the catch: the battery just cannot recharge quickly enough to sustain maximum power at tracks with poor braking energy recovery. Telemetry from George Russell's pole lap during qualifying in Australia revealed an astonishing phenomena. His car's battery went out halfway down the straight, causing it to lose almost 50 kilometers per hour without using the brakes. In order to regenerate electricity, drivers were practically taking off the accelerator and downshifting in the middle of the bend. Suddenly, whether the racing feels different is not the question. It concerns if Formula One has inadvertently transformed the world's fastest drivers from racers to energy accountants. What does that mean for the sport's future, assuming that is the case? Make sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons before we continue so you don't miss any of our most recent videos. Because what the teams and drivers are discreetly disclosing about these new regulations has the potential to drastically alter Formula One's future. You must begin with the physics of the new power unit concept in order to comprehend why tensions erupted following the Australian Grand Prix. Electrical deployment was intended to be significantly increased by the 2026 engines. Internal combustion engines continued to provide the majority of power throughout earlier hybrid eras. Currently, battery energy management accounts for over half of the performance potential. The first significant strategic issue arises at that point. The MGUK harvesting system may collect significant quantities of energy each lap in circuits with severe braking zones, such as Singapore or Montreal. Albert Park, however, is the reverse. There are extremely few times when kinetic energy can be transformed back into electrical charge due to long sweeping bends and longer full-speed passages. A totally different pattern of racing behavior is the outcome. In order to avoid becoming a sitting duck later down the straight, drivers must continually choose between using all of their power to attack and saving energy. Practically speaking, this implies that there is now a hidden cost associated with each attempt to pass. And the early conflict between George Russell and Charles Leclerc was the best example of this. Leclerc once compared the new boost system on team radio to the Mario Kart mushroom during their clash. Although it seems humorous, it is quite correct in theory. The hybrid system's full 750 kilowatts output is released when drivers press the boost button. Acceleration becomes explosive, but the battery depletes quickly, making the driver who employed the boost instantly vulnerable when the charge runs out. This explains why, in the first 9 laps of their combat, there were 7 lid swaps. Every move involved more than just braking into the corner later. It has to do with scheduling cycles of energy deployment. You'll see something intriguing if you pay close attention to the onboard video. Russ frequently took half a lap to react to Leclerc's attacks, giving his batteries time to recover by partial harvesting before making a counterattack. The duel started to focus more on predictive tactics and less on pure driving aggression. The grid is now separated precisely for this reason. In fact, drivers like Lewis Hamilton applauded the new method. Some see a far darker aspect, but from his point of view, the racing becomes a multi-layered tactical game instead of a straightforward braking contest. For instance, Max Verstappen spoke candidly about the experience following the race. He acknowledged that he was no longer enjoying driving and that his annoyance wasn't hypothetical, saying the incident felt chaotic. Verstappen's RB22 had an unexplained battery depletion during the formation lap in Australia. His telemetry indicated that there was no electrical deployment available by the time the race began, so he launched from the grid using solely combustion power. Even though he started on new tires, that deficit alone explains why he had trouble off the line. Nevertheless, he managed to move up from the back of the field to finish 6th in spite of those problems, creating an intriguing competitive analogy. Russell's Mercedes seemed to be perfectly adjusted for energy management, but Verstappen was struggling with battery depletion. Russell was able to sustain steady acceleration at the end of lengthy straights because their deployment method maintains steady electrical reserves throughout the race. At this point, political conflict starts to emerge. The new approach, according to a number of drivers, produces artificial racing. In fact, according to Lando Norris, driving these cars seems worse than driving those of the preceding generation. However, pay close attention to Russell's reply. He proposed that competitive positioning could have an impact on criticism. According to him, if Norris had won the race, he probably wouldn't be complaining about the regulations. Although such remark might seem like standard paddock banter, it shows a deeper aspect of Formula One politics. There are always new winners and losers when significant regulations are changed. Mercedes seems to be one of the teams that quickly gained a significant edge by mastering the hybrid mapping. Naturally, the most vocal detractors are those who are still having trouble with energy harvesting algorithms. However, there is more to this discussion than just performance. Security. Due to restrictions on energy deployment, Liam Lawson's car suddenly bogged down during the race start. Cars arriving from behind experienced speed disparities of up to 40 to 50 km per hour due to the abrupt cessation of acceleration. That kind of closing speed becomes quite risky in high-density pack racing. Norris cautioned that an automobile could be launched into the air if it collided with another vehicle at that speed differential. Russell acknowledged that fighting in energy-saving straight-line mode felt dubious, even if he profited competitively from the new technique. Additionally, you can really see the issue if you watch the video closely. Depending on the condition of their batteries, cars can occasionally accelerate at radically different rates as they leave corners. It is possible for one driver to have full deployment while another does not. The pack experiences an unpredictable accordion effect as a result. That's a dreadful scenario for race control from a physics standpoint because reaction time drastically decreases as speed differentials become unexpected. Because of this, team leaders like Andrea Steller are already advocating for critical technical conversations. His worries go beyond mere show. These disparities in energy deployment have the potential to cause a catastrophic grid disaster. The domino effect starts at this point. The entire competitive hierarchy may change once more if the FIA is forced to alter deployment rules in the middle of the season due to safety concerns. Teams who made significant investments in aggressive electrical tactics risk losing their edge overnight. This returns us to the initial conflict that motivated the driver's disobedience. This goes beyond whether or not driving the vehicles is enjoyable. The question is whether the 2026 rules have inadvertently become Formula One, a sport where energy management takes precedence over instinctive racing. Additionally, there might be tremendous political pressure on the sport's regulatory bodies if that view becomes widespread among supporters. This is the actual query that the paddock is silently posing following Australia. Are we still witnessing genuine Formula One racing or a high-speed energy management experiment if the world's quickest cars may abruptly lose 50 km per hour mid-straight because their batteries run out? While some perceive a revolutionary new strategic era, others, like Verstappen, think the sport has crossed a hazardous boundary. However, this argument might turn into the largest political conflict Formula One has seen in decades if safety worries increase and more drivers threaten to defy the rules. What are your thoughts? Do the new regulations make racing worse, or do they make it more intelligent?